if Rondo did defect to the Clippers, how big of a blow would this be to the Lakers?
Hold on, wait a minute. Why would the Clippers need a point guard? The Clippers got a point guard. Whoa. Time out. I heard Doc Rivers telling everybody, I give him the same leeway that I gave Rajon Rondo. I've turned the offense over to him. I wonder if Golden State is on the market.
Wait, he was talking about Kawhi.
No. I wonder if
you're talking about Patrick Beverley.
Pat Bam.
Yeah.
He said it was their time. It looked like his time at point guard is up in L.A. Skip, look, obviously it would be a blow. Now, let's put this thing in perspective because I like to do context. That's not AD, that's not LeBron, but he gave us valuable playoff minutes. He was our third best player. He was our third most consistent player. We kind of knew what you're going to get from Rajon Rondo. He gave LeBron an opportunity to get off the ball, not have to initiate the offense for the entirety of the game. So, with that being said, I believe Rob Pelinka is going to try to re-sign him. Now, if that does not happen, I got faith in him that he'll make this thing work. Now, look, Rondo was supposed to make, $2.7 million? He's going to opt out because, like I said, I believe he's played himself into a better contract. I also believe KCP has played himself into a better contract. The question is, Skip, what's the numbers going to be and for what's the length of time? Because I believe if it's going to be somewhere 2 years, maybe $15, $16 million, I believe the Lakers will match that. You start getting 2 years, $10 million per year, 2 years, $25 million. We wish you the best of luck, Rondo. You ain't got to move very far, different parts of L.A. You got to be close to Playa Vista as opposed to being close to El Segundo. So we get that, Skip. Rondo's proved his value. The guy's a 4-time assist leader. He played big. And you look at the last game, stealing the ball, assisting the ball. So, yeah, Skip, it'll be a loss. It would be a loss to us. But it's not Bron, it's not AD, and Rob Pelinka will be able to figure this thing out if they were to lose Rondo. I think the biggest question is, Skip, it's not going to be money, it's going to be playing time because it might be an opportunity for him to go from a role player coming off the bench to being a starter.
Bingo. Thank you. You finally got there. You know, Mr. Sharpe, there are some things in the world of sports that the moment you hear them, you do say, bingo. That's it. That's the magic move. Rondo to the Clippers would be the difference next basketball season. That would make the Clippers the champion and the Lakers some runner-up. Western Conference runner-up. Yes, it would.
Okay.
This is the move that would make so much sense for Rajon Rondo because it would be a legacy move. I'm not going to go all the way Deion Sanders here, but you remember very well what Deion did for the San Francisco 49ers.
In 94.
When he helped Steve Young get, as everybody was writing at that point, the proverbial monkey off his back as he broke through and finally won his one and only Super Bowl.
Right.
And then he said, Jerry wants me? Jerry's going to pay me all that money? I think I'll become a Dallas Cowboy. Yeah. And he went and helped, of all college coaches, Barry Switzer win his one and only Super Bowl. And it was a legacy move because the world sat back and said, Deion did that, and then he did that.
Swung the pendulum of power.
Okay. I'm not saying Rondo is quite Deion, but he's up in there somewhere because I'm just not sure your guys would have won this championship without Rajon Rondo. He was your third most valuable player, but in fourth quarters, he was often the most valuable player because he led your team in the playoffs in fourth quarter assists. He constantly set up your offense, and as he is so gifted at doing, he got the ball to the right place at the right time to the right player. Right. It might be LeBron, it might be AD, it might be Kuzma, who did lead your team in fourth quarter three-point shots made. But guess who was second in threes made in the fourth quarter through the playoffs? Rondo!
Yeah.
As they call him, playoff Rondo. I swear to you, obviously I was rooting against your team. Every time the ball left his hands, I said, that's good, because his body language told me That's good.
Yep.
Did he not shoot it with authority and conviction?
What was that game 3 and game 6? He was unbelievable.
Lord have mercy. As soon as it left his hand, I said, that's nothing but bottom of net. And
Game 4, my bad.
yeah. And you don't think of him as a knockdown shooter.
No.
But he made 40% of his threes that felt like 75% of his threes through the playoff run.
Skip, remember the Nuggets, though, series, where he was spectacular shooting the ball from outside.
Just spectacular. So my point is that when you have a guy like that, he suddenly, at age 34, has an opportunity to go to your arch rival that shares your building, that lives in the basement of Staples Center, and he's just against the grain enough to have no real loyalty to the Lakers. Not that he hates the Lakers, but he's his own man.
He like Bron. Because remember what he said, Skip? He said he was always thinking, he was sitting back there thinking, say, you know, if I ever team with a guy like Bron. Now, he didn't say if I team with a guy like Kawhi. He never said if I team with a guy like Paul George.
Maybe he'll say that now.
Whoa. He said if I could team with a guy like Bron. You know, I'm talking about from the mental aspect of it.
Yeah. Remember Rondo's quote after game 2 against the Nuggets, which ended with AD making a 3 and yelling, Kobe!
Yeah.
Rondo said after the game, play was called for LeBron. I locked eyes with LeBron, and he did not move. That was the quote. He did not move. Yeah. LeBron was locked up. He was froze.
Yeah, whatever.
He was 1 for 6 from the floor in the fourth quarter, and Rondo said, I got to get it to AD.
The biggest thing is that what it would do, it would strengthen you, but it would also weaken us. So you would kill two birds with one stone.
So, and then Rondo would rise into the company of one of, at that point, it would be 6 players who've won a championship for 3 different teams. Obviously, Boston, and then Lakers, and then Clippers.
Hold up. So you already giving, if Rondo leave for the Clippers, you already giving them the championship.
Who was favored going into these playoffs? The Clippers were. What would be the missing piece to the puzzle? A true point guard. I love Patrick Beverley, but he is not a true point guard. Guess how many assists Pat Bev averaged through the playoffs?
What?
How about 2?
That's it?
2 assists.
And he doing all that talking? I thought he was Magic Johnson on the Rock.
I'm not even sure he's a better trash talker than Rondo is. He's a more out front trash talker. He's a more in-your-face trash talker.
A more front-running trash talker.
You can argue that. He's more of a spotlight trash talker because he's just flat out louder than Rondo is. Rondo is this way. He's out of the side of his mouth. Rondo is Larry Bird-esque in his trash talking. Bird lean over and say, you ain't.
Rondo's the guy, the team that the free throw line shooting, he go try to dap the guy that shot the free throw.
Yeah. Okay, that's Rondo. He has true edge to him. Yeah. He is an edgy player against all grain who's going to do it his way or your highway. You go on the highway. He's not going to take anything from anybody. And a guy who made a grand total last year of $2.4 million for your Lakers, you want to talk about, is that the most valuable $2.4 the Lakers ever spent? Mm-hmm. That guy still has a chance to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame, to me. He just does because of his impact on games. Remember, while Pat Bev has made 3 all-defensive teams, guess who's made 4? Rondo. Guess who has led this league in steals? Rondo. Guess who twice has led this league in assists? Rondo. Pat Bev can't carry Rondo's jock when it comes to running a team.
No.
I'm sorry, he has no idea. What did the Clippers too often degenerate into, especially in games 4, 5, and 6 against the
it would be
5, 6, and 7. Yeah, Kawhi or bust. Where a lot of times he dribbled the ball up the floor. If Pat Bev dribbled it up, he just lobbed it over to the right wing
and go stand in the corner.
Yeah, and he'd go stand in the corner and he'd say, "You do it." And too often Kawhi would catch the ball way over on the right wing near the Clippers bench. 2 would come to him, and he'd say, okay, dribble, dribble, dribble. Maybe I can split the double team. Right. Maybe I can just rise up here and shoot a 3. That's not going to work often enough. No. You're going to make 50% of those shots? No, you're not.
Plus, Skip, what it would allow them to do, it would allow them to take Kawhi off the ball. Kawhi doesn't want to handle the ball that much. Yeah, he can handle it. He's gotten better at handling the ball. But it would take him off the ball for the most part and let him do what he really does. Yep. Now he can play off the ball. He can even be more effective than he already is, because that's what it allowed LeBron to do. It allowed LeBron to get off the ball, not always having to initiate offense. And plus, you see the big threes that you mentioned, the one in against the Nuggets, but what about the dagger three against the Miami Heat? It was Rondo that dribbled into the lane, kicked it out to AD, and AD finished it off with a three.
He played 25 minutes a game in the playoffs, and they were as crucial a 25 minutes as you'll find on any team that went to the bubble.
9, 4, and 7, what he averaged?
9, 4, and 7. Pat Bev averaged 6, 4, and 2. 2 assists?
Hold on. You doing all that talking. Now, if you didn't know better, I say, man, Pat Bev, he got to have Dame numbers. Okay, maybe he got the kid in in Phoenix. Book. I mean, he doing all this talking with 6 points and 2 assists. And he all up his Steph's face saying, y'all time is over. No, he said, it's our time. He told LeBron, you know it's over for y'all, right? He know what he told LeBron. He had the nerve to tell LeBron after they got Kawhi and Paul George, you know it's over for y'all, right?
Well, he did make a play on LeBron at the end of the Christmas Day game that was just vintage Pat Bev.
Well, you know what?
He blocked his shot on the way up, knocked it out of his hands, off his hands, out of bounds, game over.
Let me tell you what we're going to do. Let me tell you what we're going to do. Now, I don't know when the season starts. Is it going to start in December? It's going to start in January. Now, in Staples, on our opening night, we're going to raise a banner that says World Champ 17. On your opening night, y'all going to raise a banner almost division winners. And we won the Christmas game and we won opening day 2019.
You did.
Those are y'all banners.
Okay. Rondo would change all that. Rondo would be the difference maker because, to your point, he would hurt your team. But more important, he would put the Clippers over the top. And you can't tell me if they had Rondo this past year against those pesky Nuggets, that when they had a 16-point lead in the first closeout game and a 19-point lead in the second one and a 12-point lead in the final one, you can't tell me with Rondo at the controls in the fourth quarter they wouldn't have gotten home in one of those 3 games.
Y'all could sign Rondo. Rondo signed back with us. Y'all could have signed him.
Okay, but now is now. And now I believe that Steve Ballmer, you know how gung-ho he is.
Yeah.
He gets his man. When he wants his man, he goes and gets him. I believe he should make Rondo, I believe he is making Rondo their offseason target and goal, because that's the missing piece to their puzzle. And it was a puzzle at the end of the year because you couldn't figure out how can this team not close these deals.
The question is, because you know Rondo now. Rondo got no problem getting in guys' face and tell you when you're wrong. Kawhi going to be able to handle that?
Yep.
You sure?
I am sure.
Because nobody's ever challenged Kawhi. Oh. You know, last time they challenged Kawhi, Kawhi shut it down for 73 games. That was the last time Kawhi been challenged. So since then, everybody's been walking around Kawhi literally like they're on eggshells.
Well, you know who really needs to get challenged right in his face is Playoff P, or as you call him, Playoff PEE,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's what he was. Yeah. I give you that. Rondo would change some of that.
They're going to trade him anyway. He ain't going to be.
I don't think so. Why would you even think about threatening the nucleus of a team that was favored by all the odds makers to win it all going into the playoffs?
The fact that he's part of the nucleus. That's
why would you tear up a team? You want this team tore up because you are fearing this team.
Well, first of all, we tore your tail up last year, so we're going to tear it up again. Now, if you think Rob Pelinka is right now on some beach, kicked back because they won, that's not what he's doing. He's right there, mad genius, just trying to put this thing together, Skip, like the Minority Report. You remember Tom Cruise movie? How they move it? That was way ahead. That movie was way ahead of his time. That's what he's doing right now.
You picked some obscure movies.
He put pieces together. He's like, okay, LeBron, AD, Bradley Beal. Woo, okay, Ron, Victor Oladipo. You know, he's running scenarios through his head.
But wait a minute, Bradley Beal's going to Golden State.
Hold on, I'm just saying the scenarios that Rob is running through his head. He and LeBron and AD right now. I know you see LeBron, he walking all around, but guess what? He on Zoom calls on a nightly basis, him, AD, and Rob.
From Vegas, I guess.
Don't worry about where he at. Stop telling get a man what. You know what's Skip? All you do is just rat people out.
And speaking of Vegas, and speaking of LeBron, look, the point is, you touched on this. Why would Rondo want to be a backup when he could be the starter, the point guard, the driving force for a team that, if they land Rondo, would be favored to win it all? Why wouldn't you want to just go to the Clippers?
Would you rather be a backup in Tampa, Green Bay, or Kansas City, or a starter for the Jets? Because y'all the Jets.
The Jets?
Yeah, the Jets.
Were the Jets favored this year to win it all?
Y'all ain't Skip. Will you start with that favorite?
Well, they were the favorite. And by the way, do not discount this. Every game that the Clippers played against the Nuggets, they were favored by more points to win each of those 7 games than you were in any single game you played the Nuggets. What did it take, 6 games against the Nuggets?
It took us 5.
5
It took
games.
us 5.
Okay, so your 5 games, not one time were you as big a favorite as the Clippers were in all 7 games against the Nuggets. Explain that one, too.
And you know what Steve Wynn and Sheldon Alderson did? They said, oh, yeah, we took these guys, these jacklegs money. Let's build up another building. $2 billion going up because they betting on the Clippers to cover that. And they did not.
Give Ty Lue, Rajon Rondo, and look out, Lakers.
All I remember hearing him say after the game, he said there were many times that he was thinking. He said, you know what? He was talking, I think it was on NBA TV. He said, you know what? I was thinking. If I ever got with a guy like LeBron, I don't think our team could beat us 4 times before we beat them 4 times in 7 games. Now, that's what he said. Now, he didn't mention Kawhi. He didn't mention Paul George. He didn't mention Pat Bev. He said LeBron James. Now, I wonder why that is. Because he says that's the guy that's on my level intellectually. So, in other words, those other guys that he didn't mention, because that's what you tell me. Anytime someone say LeBron is the GOAT, say Jordan is the GOAT, you say they didn't mention LeBron. Now, this was an opportunity. Now, he could have said a lot of people. He could have said Kawhi. He could have said Giannis. He could have said a lot of different people that was on his level intellectually. He said one name.
He did.
That's why he's going to be right here.
You're going to lose him.
I'll be right there. Well, I'll be scared. Look here. If y'all going to pay the man $12 million a year, I'll give him 2 years, $25 million, 2 years, $30 million, 3 years.
I'm not sure the Clippers can find that much money.
Well,
I'm afraid it's going to be the basic mid-level exception. It's going to be 9-ish, $9 million.
He going to be right there with us.
Okay, so you might be able to offer similar kind of money.
That's right.
Okay, do you want to be a starter or you want to be LeBron's backup?
I want to get me another title.
Yep.
That's what he going to
Well,
get.
if you want another title, you ought to go to the Clippers.
That ain't happening.
Yeah. Because LeBron is getting nothing but older.
Oh, see, there you go. See, they said the same thing about Rondo. That's why nobody wanted him. Remember, Skip, how old Rondo going to be? Rondo, 34?
He's 34.
Yeah, so he's 34.
But you know what? Rondo is one of those guys who was born in shape. You know, he just looks like he's always in shape. He can be out of basketball for a while, and he's just in shape.
And plus, the thing is, we already factor. Now, we know he's going to miss somewhere between 4 weeks and 6 weeks with an injury.
Probably
we
he will.
factor that in.
Okay. Yeah, so do we. Yeah.
Oh, so now it's we.
Yeah.
Now it's we.
So
now
do we. Yep.
Okay.
We.
So now you done go from San Antonio. You left San Antonio and Pop. You went to Golden State with KD. Now you in Brooklyn with KD, and now you back with the Clippers.
Yeah, well, I'm not with the Cowboys, so I got to have somewhere to land, right? And I've landed on the Clippers.
So in other words, you got 5
Clippers.
teams.
Bet it all on the Clippers next year.
You got 5 teams to try to take down my one guy. I mean, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip. You really should.
Well, my Spurs just wiped you out 2014.
When the last time you mentioned the Spurs? People, the Cowboys don't even wear Spurs. Do they still wear Spurs in Texas?
My man Kawhi left my Spurs for dead.
Yeah, and you think about what he did to you. He left you for dead. And you rooted for him again. You root for him again.
Yep. If he gets Rondo, I have no choice.
Can you imagine, people at home, can you imagine if LeBron James had left Skip Bayless for dead, left his Spurs? He's upset that LeBron left the Miami Heat. Can you imagine if he had left the Spurs, what Skip would have done? Oh, my goodness.
I wasn't upset he left the Heat. Dwayne was.
Nah, you.
And Pat Riley.
He left them high. He left them high
and dry. He did. He did. In the 11th hour when they didn't see it coming. Way to go, LeBron.
Let me ask you a question.
Congratulations.
Did he leave you higher and drier than what Kawhi did to the Spurs?
Nope. He left us for dead. Dead.
Hey, then you rooting for him. You come out here with jersey, got his shoes on.
He was my favorite player from the start. I told you. And he's got the best shoes on the market right now.
Man, if you don't stop, If you don't start with the orthopedics, they should be comfortable because you're on your feet.
You should wear them.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
If you're on your feet 14 hours a day, like most, what do they call them? Personal. What
Workers.
No, essential workers.
Essential workers, yeah.
If you're those people, if you're those, and you're on your feet 14 hours, 16 hours a day, you
Yeah.
need a comfortable shoe.
Yeah.
But that's all they're good for. That's it.
Boy, they got style too. Whew.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
How about that?
You ought to be ashamed of
I
yourself.
guess at this point, just to see how comfortable they actually are. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.